Good morning. It is 7:20 on a Friday morning here in Newbian, Iowa. Temperatures are currently below freezing, so it's getting chilly today, but we've got a beautiful morning. And today I found a way to fix the thing that I thought was one of the most annoying things about the Insta360 One R. So one of the things that I love about the Insta360 cameras is that it deletes the selfie stick that's in here. It makes for a cool effect. Gives me a little bit of a stiff arm, but it freaks some people out who don't know what they're looking at. But for the most part, I really love that feature. But what it requires, because there's two cameras, one on each side, what it does is each lens captures more than like 180 degrees, and the overlap is used to delete the selfie stick. Now what happens is, if the camera is not in perfect alignment straight up and down with the selfie stick, it creates like a weird effect. So there's like a weird like ghost half stick. It's kind of like a Back to the Future type of effect, where it's there and it's not there at the same time, and it's really distracting to me when I see it. Sometimes it's like, I think I'm the only one that'll notice it, or maybe other people who have run with 360 cameras will notice it. Other times I think it ruins the shot. And so when the Insta360 One R came out with a GoPro style mount, I thought that was terrible, and I knew that it would end up ruining a lot of my shots, and it definitely has ruined a lot of my shots. So I'm not a big fan of that. Hold on. So I've been looking for a while, and I finally found a new mount for the Insta360 One R, the 360 camera. Now it's not an official Insta360 mount, it's a third-party mount, but it puts it back into a case where I can just put it at the end of a 1/4-20 Insta360 selfie stick, which is one of my favorites, by the way. And it guarantees that it'll be perfectly straight, because the 1/4-20 mount just mounts directly into the camera. There's no adjustment, there's no possibility for it to shake and rattle kind of loose. So I think that this is going to solve one of the bigger problems I had from a design perspective of the Insta360 One R, but it's not perfect. 5.41 miles, 9 minutes, 14 seconds per mile, 140 beats per minute today on a cold but easy run here in Newbian, Iowa, taking the Insta360 One R out for a run in a new case that has a 1/4-20 mount built right into the bottom. Now, before we get into my thoughts on this product, I do want to go over some disclosures. This is a aftermarket case that was sent to me for the purpose of review. No one sent it to me or is paying me to make this video, and no one's going to get a chance to preview any of my footage or thoughts before you guys get a chance to see this video on YouTube. Now, the disclosures out of the way, let's talk about this aftermarket case. Now, before I talk about this aftermarket case, I think we got to talk about the original case that the Insta360 One R came with. It's this plastic thing. It doesn't look like much, but it's pretty useful. It's lightweight, it fits the camera inside nicely, and it has a latch on the bottom that you can release, and then the camera can come back out while it still stays mounted to whatever you have it mounted on. And it's versatile too, because this Insta360 One R is kind of like an interchangeable lens kind of camera, and that's not really the right word for it, but let's just call it that for the sake of simplicity. So right now I have a 360 module on it where there's those two cameras, one on each side, and I could take those 360 images. But there's also like a GoPro style action camera module in there, and there's another module that has a bigger sensor in it for more high quality type of stuff. And so while I would like for this camera to have a 1/4-20 mount that's fixed on the bottom, there could be lots of reasons why you'd want to have a GoPro style mount if you have a GoPro style module in it. So here is my GoPro, for example, on like the selfie stick that I normally run with my GoPro on. And so the GoPro needs to have this adjustment point up here. So that way, when I'm holding it out, I can have it like looking at me at the right angle. And if I have like a sharper angle like this, I can tilt it down so it's still kind of looking at me correctly. I can move it around and adjust it and things are fine. So I could set the GoPro angle just the way I want. But the problem is when you put a 360 camera on like that, the 360 camera needs to be perfectly straight. Otherwise, if it gets tilted just a little bit this way or just a little bit that way, I'm overemphasizing it for effect. But if it gets tilted, then this whole straightness that is required to be able to delete the selfie stick gets ruined. So that's why when I want to use this camera, I don't want like a GoPro style mount. I want something that's fixed, like the original Insta360 One X Stick. This is just a stick. It extends. This one acts a little bit differently. You just pull it. It extends a long way, and it's got a 1/4-20 mount. No potential to adjust it. No potential to wiggle. It just screws directly into the bottom of the camera now, or the camera and case, and you've got a perfectly straight stick every single time, or at least that's how it's supposed to work. There's still a problem with it in that this thing is super heavy. It's a lot of metal that's in here, and it's thick. So they've not done a lot to save weight. There's a lot of other stuff on here too. They've got like cold shoe mounts and other like mounting points. It's convenient because you can still reach all the buttons and you can still reach the charging door and the SD card slot and stuff, but it's really heavy. And when you've got this on the end of a long stick, now this is not the stick, but it's really long. So it's super long, longer than my normal selfie stick, but when you got it at the end of the stick, it tends to flex the stick a little bit, and that bending makes a curve. In other words, the stick is not completely straight anymore. So again, we're showing up with that problem of we need to have a completely straight stick and we're not getting it. So that's the problem with the weight, is that it ruins the shot still. Now today in the footage that I saw, even at the stick at the most extended length and having the stick bowing as much as it probably ever would, it wasn't terrible. So I didn't lose any shots because of the fact that this thing, it's too heavy at the end of the stick. So it didn't ruin shots, but I'm still seeing it there. The solution would be to either get a shorter stick or make this thing lighter. And I really think that making it lighter is the way to go, because you still want to use this as an action camera, right? So you want to bring it around for while you're out there doing stuff. And this amount of weight to carry it, like running in your hands, it just ends up being a lot. I've run with a lot of weight before in terms of like cameras and holding stuff, but this is just a lot. It's too much to really run with on a regular basis. So I just don't think that it works. The other major problem that I have with this, and even if this were really lightweight, this would still be in and of itself a near deal breaker, is that the camera is not really removable. It doesn't have a latch like in the original Insta360 One R case, where like you just push a button over and then it opens up and then you can get the camera out. This, you have to use an Allen wrench tool to be able to get 4 very small bolts out. And then once you do that, this bottom part here just slides completely out and the camera can kind of drop out. It makes it very secure. It makes it stick in there and it's not going to ever come out. But it's not something that I can remove, even if I brought the included Allen wrench. And when this particular one came with like a bag, and where'd it go? Here's the Allen wrench, and there's also a GoPro mount if you do want to attach a GoPro mount to this thing. But there's a little tiny Allen wrench that it comes with, and you can just then like, you know, use the tiniest little Allen wrench on the tiniest little Allen bolts and get this thing out. But you're not going to do that while you're running, or you're not going to do that while you're on the move. And that's a real problem for action cameras, because every once in a while, all action cameras, at some point in the middle of your activity, you're going to need to, maybe not every time you're out there, but at some point you're going to need to like remove the battery just to get the thing to like reset, put the battery back on, and then fire it back up again. It happens to me with the Insta360 One R. It happens to me with this brand new GoPro Hero 9. I think that happened to me like 2 days ago.
Had some issues with the battery and the GoPro. Missed out the last minute or so of the test. Got down to like 5:53,
where, you know, you're turning it on, you're turning it off, turning it on, turning it off, and then every once in a while it just kind of like hangs. So you need to open up the door, get the battery out, just pull it out for a second, jam it back in, get the door closed again, and then you're good to go. Same thing happens with this thing. This one's a little bit more difficult because normally I have to take it out of this case, get it out of here, and then take it out. And then this red part on the bottom is a battery. You have to turn a latch, unhook it, and then slap it back on, and then put it back in the case, and then you're good to go. It's an annoying process, but it's something that every once in a while I might need to do. And so to have like a non-removable, at least during the while I'm running, to have it non-removable is not something that I can really live with. I might be able to live with it if this thing was like really light and, you know, just completely out of the way and made it so that it was like, you know, basically I was sticking the camera on the end of a stick, but it's also really heavy. So this isn't it. This isn't it. It's really close. It just needs to be a lot lighter. Or what I wish that Insta360 would have done is make it more, they really wanted to make this like the same silhouette as the GoPro, I feel like. And what I wish they would have done is just been like, this is a 360 camera. We're doing our thing. We're going to look like the way we look. And the Insta360 One X was a vertical camera that had the 1/4 mount built right into the bottom. I wish that there was a way they could have done it here. Maybe make this red part, the battery, like bigger. Instead of having one long battery, have two like fatter but like narrower batteries in here, and still have the 1/4 mount built into it. Some sort of way where we didn't have to deal with this case, and if we didn't want to, we didn't have to deal with this case, because this doesn't work for me. Not if you want me to use it as a 360 camera, and that is 99% of the time how I use this thing, as a 360 camera. I don't use it as like a one camera only, like a traditional action camera. I use the two cameras of the 360 every single time. So I'm still looking for the right one, but this isn't it. So those are my thoughts on this aftermarket Insta360 One R case. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments down below, or better yet, feel free to stop on by. I do a live stream every day at 3 p.m. Central Time here on YouTube. You can always feel free to ask me any questions on there. I'd love to see you there. That's all I have for today, everybody. Thanks so much for making it all the way to the end of the video. Hopefully you guys are staying safe out there on your runs, and I'll see you in the next one.
Yo, what's going on?